Hey everyone, hope all of you are doing well. I am making this video to make my NFL Divisional playoff picks. Now before that, I would like to take an opportunity to go over what I picked last week and how I did on it. And then we will get into my picks for this week and what I think about these games and see how well I do. Like I said, this is not to challenge anyone. This is not to compete with anyone else's picks. This is just to see how I do and see how good I am at picking playoff games. And usually I suck at picking playoff games, but I have gotten some stuff right. But that said, let's recap what I did predict, and then we will get into my predictions for this week, and of course, all of that fun, good stuff. Okay, starting in the AFC, I ended up going 2 for 2 in the AFC, picking the Ravens to beat the Indianapolis Colts and picking the Texans to beat the Bengals. I got both of them right. I went 2 for 2 in the AFC, so I can give myself a round of applause there. Obviously, the Ravens with Ray Lewis, a much different team. They played very well with Ray Lewis back, although I mean, they were a bend but not break defense, but in the end, the Ravens just were too much for the Indianapolis Colts, and with Ray Lewis's last home game, that is definitely was expected. As for the Texans, I kind of thought that this would go the way it was going to go. I just did not have that much faith in the Bengals to do it. I thought the Texans were a little bit better than the Bengals still, and I was proven to be right. So like I said, Texans-Ravens win. I went 2 for 2 in the AFC. As for the NFC, I ended up going 2 for 2 in the NFC as well. I ended up picking the Green Bay Packers to beat the Vikings and the Seattle Seahawks to beat the Redskins. I ended up getting both of those right. The Seahawks won 24-14 and the Packers won 24-10. Not a surprise with the Packers and Vikings. That was pretty much the gimme of the weekend. No one thought it would be close, and pretty much for the most part it wasn't close. Like I said, it pretty much, the game pretty much told its tale when the Vikings drove on the first drive and only got a field goal. I said that kicking field goals were going to be unacceptable. So the Packers won easily. And then on the other side, the Seahawks and what they were able to do, beating the Redskins. Like I said, this RG3 got hurt. It looked pretty bad for this pick early on, but they ended up getting their groove on, and the Seahawks ended up punishing the Redskins, and they did so in a dramatic fashion. Like I said, not a shock. So with 2 for 2 for the NFC, I have gone 4 for 4 this weekend. I am 4-0 so far with my playoff picks record. So like I said, deserves a round of applause. And now let's get on to picking our next matchups, the divisional matchups for the playoffs. In the first matchup of the 4 matchups for the NFL divisional playoffs, we will start in the AFC. 4:30 Saturday will be the Denver Broncos and the Baltimore Ravens. It will be played in the Mile High City on 4:30. And it will be on what I call NEBS, which is New England Patriots Broadcasting Station, which is what everyone calls CBS. I call it NEBS because it is the Patriot Broadcasting Station, and PBS was already taken, so I said, hey, why not make it New England Broadcasting Station, because that's what it is. Let's not kid ourselves. Anyway, in this game, this is going to be an interesting matchup here. Like I said, because it's in Mile High. Earlier in this year, the Broncos pretty much kicked the Ravens' butt by winning 34-17 in on the road. Now it's in Denver, so it should make it tougher on the Ravens. But like I said, they do get Ray Lewis back, and he is big time. Ray Rice will have to be a factor in this game as well. And, of course, Joe Flacco. My guess is the Broncos defense will look to take away Ray Rice because he's probably the biggest threat to them. And then they're going to try to make Joe Flacco beat them. That's probably going to be the strategy. Usually that's what it is. You don't want to have the running backs run wild on your defense because then it really opens up the playbook. They want to make it 2nd and 3rd and longs, which then makes it obvious passing situations. That's true of pretty much every team. So if you're the Broncos, you probably look to do that. On the other side, it's a little bit tougher. Like I said, Peyton Manning is a very good passer. My guess is the Ravens are going to try to get a pass rush on because they had a pretty good one. I'm going with the Colts game, and the Broncos have had weaknesses on that offensive line this year. The Broncos will try to probably get Moreno going. He'll probably be the starter. But obviously Peyton Manning is obviously the big time quarterback in for Denver. So like I said, it will be an interesting matchup there. Pure quarterbacks alone, the Broncos have the edge. But however, the Ravens have the edge of previously losing to the Broncos. They already lost to the Broncos, and that was without Ray Lewis. And like I said, you get Ray Lewis back. You have Terrell Suggs playing. This is a good defense when all of those players are playing. I think it's going to be a lot closer than people think. The Broncos were favored by about 8 points to start the week. It's going to be tough, and I wouldn't be surprised if the Ravens win this game. And I think we got to be careful. A lot of trash talking going on between these two clubs. I think both clubs do got to be careful. On the Ravens side, you got to be careful because, like I said, you did lose to them once. And like I said, the Broncos have bragging rights. On the other side, the Bronco fans have to remember that you played the Ravens and you kicked their butts before without Ray Lewis. And Ray Lewis, while he's not the same presence athletically, his emotional presence to that defense is still what it was 5, 10, 15 years ago. So I would not be surprised if the Ravens went to Denver and upset them. I just would not be surprised. That said, on the other side, the Broncos cannot lose this. It is very important for Peyton Manning they can't lose this because if so, the doubters will come out in Denver. I seen them at the beginning of the year when they started out rough. A lot of doubters on the Denver Facebook pages, but they've since calmed down. But you don't want to go as far as Tim Tebow did in a playoff game. Therefore, when it's all said and done, I think I will predict. I cannot predict against Denver. I was born in Denver. While I've lived in Pittsburgh for many, many years, I was actually born out in the Mile High City. Lived in Lakewood, which is obviously on the western part of Denver. So I just can't go against the Broncos. I can't pick against the Denver Broncos. I'm going to pick them. I'm going to pick them to win 24-20. That's what I think will happen. Somewhere along that lines, I think the Broncos will win. I just can't pick against them for the divisional round. Championship game might be a different story, but can't do it for the divisional round. Just can't do it. I say because I was born there, I gotta give my birth city their respect and that they need. And like I said, I'm rooting for the Broncos too. I want them to win it all because of that. So let's go Denver, and I say they will win 24-20. That's my prediction on the AFC divisional playoff game. In the next game, that's going to be coming up. It is going to be the San Francisco 49ers and the Green Bay Packers. It'll be an 8 o'clock game on Saturday night in San Francisco at Candlestick Park, and the game will be on Fox. Now, a couple things come to mind here. obviously. Now, first off is the Packers' impressive win. Charles Woodson's back. Clay Matthews is back. It seems like that defense played well, although against a banged-up Minnesota Vikings team, which pretty much was Adrian Peterson or bust. So the Packers definitely were able to take them out. The Packers will have a little bit tougher of a challenge this time because Colin Kaepernick can ball. He can play. And then you have Frank Gore who can play. They still got good players. Vernon Davis will be back after suffering that concussion week 16. I think this is a pretty solid team. Like I said, the 49ers are much better than the Minnesota Vikings. Although the Vikings did beat the 49ers earlier this year. But that said, on the other side, the 49ers defense is going to be banged up. Justin Smith, what's going to be about him? He's probably going to play, but what impact is he going to have? Will they be able to man up on Justin Smith and then double team Aldon Smith and pretty much make the Smiths not a factor? That could be very possibly. Maybe the 49ers will change blitz schemes, but then again, if you blitz the Packers, Aaron Rodgers might kill you through the air, and that is just a fact. He will torch your secondary. Aaron Rodgers is probably the best quarterback in the playoffs right now, next to maybe Tom Brady. So this is going to be an interesting matchup. Like I said, 49ers are banged up. They needed that bye week, so maybe they are a little bit more healthier now that they had that bye week and they're more rested up. But at the same token, Justin Smith's going to be an issue. And I also question the 49ers as a team. And I think as a team, I don't think the 49ers are as good as people make them out to be, because they had some bad ones. They tied with the Rams at home. They lost to the Rams on the road. Now, the Rams are improving, but the 49ers still should have beat the Rams. That's just my take. They shouldn't have lost to the Rams. They shouldn't have tied with the Rams either, but they did. And then they lost at Minnesota, and that's another game, like I said. And then of course that New England game where it was 31-3 49ers in the second half, and then the 49ers choked up the game within a span of a quarter. So I just don't think the 49ers are that good. I don't think they're that good of a team, to be quite honest with you. On the other side, you have the Green Bay Packers, and like I said, Aaron Rodgers, good. They're starting to get a running game too with what's that guy's name? Chris something or other. Or Henry, I think, is his last name, or something like that. Sucks I can't remember the name, but against Minnesota, he was starting to run the football. And if you can run the ball and pass the ball, then the Packers are pretty much unstoppable on offense. You have James Jones, you have Jordy Nelson, you have Greg Jennings, you have all those weapons, and of course Randall Cobb, who's starting to really become big time in the Green Bay Packers offense. This is really a dynamic offense. I think the 49ers are suspect. Like I said, Kaepernick's pretty good. It's going to get some points, but I just don't think the 49ers are as good as people advertise. I think the Green Bay Packers are going to win this game, and I think they're going to do so pretty easily. I think they're going to do so by 2 touchdowns. I say Green Bay will win. I would say probably I'll make it 28-14. I say the Packers will win 28-14. I just don't know about the 49ers and their strength as a team. I just don't trust them after some of their performances this season. And oh yeah, that game at Seattle, that just really showed them as the suspect team they are. I think they're more suspect than people think. I'm going with Green Bay in this game, 28-14. So yeah, that's my prediction for the NFC Divisional Playoff game number 1 in San Francisco. Green Bay 28, San Francisco 14. All right, the next game up is going to be another NFC game. The other NFC divisional playoff game, the Atlanta Falcons, your first seed, and the Seattle Seahawks, the 5th seed, who defeated the Washington Redskins last week. The game will be at 1 o'clock Sunday. It'll be in the Georgia Dome in Atlanta on Fox. Now, with that in mind, this is a good matchup because, like I said, I mean, you can't ignore what the Atlanta Falcons did this year. They were 13-3. They have Julio Jones, they have Roddy White, they have Matt Ryan, they have Michael Turner. They got players who can ball. This team can ball. This team can play. Obviously, that's why they're the first seed. On the other side, can't ignore what Russell Wilson's done. Russell Wilson, even though he's totally underlooked by RG3 and Andrew Luck, guess what, everyone? Russell Wilson went further than both of those guys did. He beat up RG3. I mean, he outperformed RG3. Of course, RG3 was hurt, but he outperformed RG3. He as a rookie. Of course, Marshawn Lynch can ball as well. You can't ignore that fact. Marshawn Lynch is a freak of nature. Remember that game against the Saints and what he did to them on that one play a few years ago. This kid could ball. This defense is just playing out of its mind for the Seahawks right now. This is a hot team, and like I said, I don't think a lot of people want to play the Seattle Seahawks team. And of course, the Georgia Dome, the Atlanta Falcons just don't seem to lose in the Georgia Dome. And while Seattle did beat the Washington Redskins, they are suspect on the road. They were 3-5 in the regular season on the road. That's not a very good record. But at home, they were pretty darn good. I think they were like 8-0. I think they were perfect at home. And like I said, they are tough. They are tough at home. And of course, Atlanta will be tough at home. And like I said, Atlanta has not won the playoff game yet. And Atlanta's going to want to prove that they can win a playoff game and eventually get that Super Bowl championship. And like I said, it's pretty much now or never for the Falcons, because next year I would predict that with Drew Brees there and Sean Payton coming back, the New Orleans Saints will be the team to beat in the NFC South again. That's just the way it is. So this is probably now or never for Atlanta. They need to get their game on, and they need to get it going, and they need to stop choking in those playoff games, because if they don't, then they're going to be known as the team that can win games in the regular season, but then you choke it up in the playoffs. That's definitely not what you want to see. And of course, the Seahawks, they have something to prove too as well. So, you know, like I said, very good defense. Atlanta will have its hands full, like I said. Seattle will have probably a very desperate team, on the other hand, in the Atlanta Falcons. This is going to be an interesting game, if you ask me. Atlanta's bottom line is the Atlanta Falcons are going to have to prove it to me that they can win an NFC playoff game before I end up picking the Falcons. Okay? So therefore, I am picking the Seattle Seahawks in this game. Like I said, I think the Falcons are better than the Seahawks, especially when they're playing at home. But the Atlanta Falcons have not proven to me they can win a playoff game. And until they do, I'm going to pick against them. And that's just going to be the bottom line. So it's a tough call, like I said, because I do like the Atlanta Falcons. I don't like to root for any Pete Carroll teams, but the Seahawks are just playing out of their minds. I say the Seahawks will win. I would say it's going to be a close game. I would say probably 24-17. It will be a close game, but I just do not trust the Falcons. Yet they got to prove to me they can win a playoff game. If they do, I will pick them, but until then, I just can't do it. So I say the Seahawks will win 24-17 in the second and final NFC Divisional playoff matchup. And finally, for the last playoff game of the postseason, in the divisional round, it will be the New England Patriots and the Houston Texans. This will be a 4:30 game Sunday in Foxborough, Massachusetts, just outside Boston, on New England Broadcasting Station, which is CBS, for those who don't know. In this one, and like I said, I'm going to sound like a Patriot-biased guy myself, even though I do not like the Patriots. I hope the Texans win this game. But let's be real. What are the chances of that? The Texans went to Foxborough earlier in the year. They got their asses blown off 42-14. the Texans are an overrated team, and I hate to say this, like I said, 'cause I want them to beat the Patriots, but the Texans are overrated. That's just the bottom line. They are not that good. They got crushed to Green Bay at home. They lost to the Colts, who aren't that good. They lost to the Patriots, like I said, who totally crushed them. This is just not a very good team. That's just the bottom line. Okay, they beat teams. I mean, and yes, they did beat Denver, but keep in mind Denver was like 2-3 at that time, or whatever the hell they were. They weren't that good at that time, or I think they were like 2-2 at that time, or something like that. So they just so therefore. This is a pretty easy pick for me. It's going to be the Patriots, and I think they're going to crush the Texans like they did the last time. Because let's be honest, okay? The Bengals in the last game had chances to win. Okay, they had chances to win. They could have took on. If Andy Dalton would have hit whoever it was in stride down in the end zone, it would have been a different ball game, and the Bengals would have won 20-19. But instead, Andy Dalton couldn't make the throws, and therefore the Texans held on and won. Okay, so it's pretty much the bottom line, and I think in this game it's going to be an easy Patriot victory. I would say probably 45-10. I think it's going to be the same score as last time, pretty much. Last time was 42-14. I think it's going to be even worse this time. I say 45-10. It'll be by 5 touchdowns. I just don't trust the Texans. I don't think they're that good. Their defense stinks, other than J.J. Watt. And then on the other side, you got. Arian Foster can play. Andre Johnson can play, but Matt Schaub has been an up and down quarterback this year. And on the other side, you have Tom Brady. That running game starting to get going, and like I said, the Texans' run defense couldn't even stop Jarvis Green-Ellis. I was shocked the Bengals didn't run the football more. I mean, what the hell? And then just easy victory. Patriots win 45-10. Going to be easy. Texans might score early in the game. They might get a field goal or a touchdown or something, but the Patriots will shut them down the rest of the way. No way they win. It'll be an easy victory. They're going to storm them off the field, and then that's pretty much it. So with that in mind, I'm going to have the Broncos over the Ravens, the Packers to beat the 49ers, the Atlanta Falcons to lose, that is to lose to the Seahawks to beat the Falcons, and the Patriots to win easily against the Houston Texans. So with that in mind, let me know what you think, and let me know what you think about these games. These will be fun. It's like I said, I love playoff games. Regardless of what happens, I will enjoy the action. I hope all of you do as well. And then I will be back next week around this time to see how well I did or how poorly I did. Hopefully my momentum from the wild card game continues on into the divisional round. So let's get it done and let's keep my beast mode going. But until then, everyone, peace out.